All right, we're back for our second feature match of week 2 here. We got a new player here, Matthias. He's making his feature match debut. It's also his first league, and we're going to get to see what he's all about here. He, thanks to us having having the feature matches this week on a Saturday afternoon, we get a few European players who are able to join us here. And he's facing Zach here, a league winner, a longtime player. Um, Looks like they're loading up here. Is there a delay on Zach's end, or
He's paused at choosing if he wants to play first or draw first, so I'm not
okay?
sure what's going on. Oh, there we
All
go.
right.
He's chosen to go first and is almost certainly mulliganing the one lander.
Yeah, maybe he was having the same thoughts that I was having earlier about putting opponent on the play. And Matthias here's got he's got a playable hand for sure. Nothing too exciting here. He's got a Mardu Hate Blade. He's got a Dutiful Return, a Rush of Battle, a Siege Rhino, and Plains. No, he's got a Scour Barrens and an Island and a Swamp here. So he'll have to get some more stuff to do and some colors online here. What's Zach looking at there? I know his record's pretty good, so looks like he's been doing well.
Unfortunately, he's out of land here. Let's see if he gets land for turn 3. Dismal Backwater. I mean, that's better than not a land, but he's still not having that much to do. Disdainful Stroke is the only thing he could cast right now. Next turn, he's got Ice Feather Aven as a morph. He's waiting on his green for a Highland game. And then he's got Bitter Revelation and Treasure Cruise also
Ooh, two
lurking.
best friends right there. Bitter Revelation and Treasure
Yeah.
Cruise, best of friends. So we saw Matthias draw a Woolly Loxodon here, the big 6/7. Not able to flip it just yet. Not able to cast a Siege Rhino just yet. So he's gonna need to get his green mana in line here. In the meantime, like I said, not too much going on. He has Rush of Battle and Dutiful Return, neither of which are going to be doing much in these early phases. So looks like, let's see what he's. All right, he did draw the Forest here, so he's gonna get an on curve Siege Rhino, which is should be putting him fairly ahead.
It's going to be sad that they don't have their Disdainful Stroke up then. That extra turn delay on the on playing the morph is going to be very problematic.
So yeah, so I'm not sure if this is a usual strategy of Matthias, but he is playing on full control here, which I mean, it's a choice. It's a choice to make. Makes it a little more difficult to play the game. Just having to hold that at all times. But he was doing that through his turn. And yeah, this is a Siege Rhino. Disdainful Stroke is just such an awkward card in a more format where a lot of your opponent's 6 drops and 5 drops they're playing on 3 and then using that turn of turn 5 or 6 to flip it up rather than to cast something. I mean, it still has hits obviously, but not as much as we would hope.
But it's particularly, I mean, eventually they get to the point where they're like, I'm going to be playing my Free Weapon Master or whatever, and they do it face up because, that's just a little bit more efficient. But uh, that takes a while to get to. And yeah, Zach is not getting his mana here. So he's got 3 green spells, Bitter Revelation, the Disdainful Stroke that, he hasn't been able to land yet, and a Treasure Cruise that he doesn't have enough in the graveyard yet for.
Yeah, and
If
in the meantime, he's just gonna take a bit of a beating. He will find a
Yep.
target finally for his disdainful stroke. However, it's a
Yep.
4 mana 3/2 with no text, which is more than good enough to counter in this state of the game.
Yeah, you still do that, but you're not entirely happy.
No, this does now. Matthias has access to his dutiful return to get back 2 creatures, so
Yeah.
there's that.
Zach drew another green card.
If you drew in, yeah, if Zach doesn't do anything, Matthias might just play his Rush of Battle next turn to deal the 6.
And we've got an island which turns on Bitter Revelation. That is
That's
not going to
no,
be doing it.
no, not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
Zach's debating just scooping it up. I'm assuming, do I want to show my opponent cards, so I want to wait and see if my opponent shows me cards, but he just decides to save some time.
Yeah, nobody wanted to show too much there, but yeah, we see the game. This is a format where you do have to hit land drops. If you get stuck on 3 or 4, you are almost assuredly going to lose the game, which is not true of modern day sets. Just because the 2 drops are so good most of the time. Like if you draw 2 drops instead of lands, you have a good chance to win. In this set, not as much.
Having morphs available to play on turn 3 is a good fail thing, a good fail case. Like even if you don't have your 4th land right away, even if you don't have your 5th land right away, you can just play your morphs face down for a little bit. But eventually, you really won't need to turn them face up.
Yeah, so I didn't not seeing Matthias's whole deck here because he's on sort of the side view where your deck is along the side. I do see it's mostly black white. The only green cards that I saw were Siege Rhino, Pine Walker, Woolly Loxodon. He did have an island in there, so maybe there's like something blue hiding somewhere, but mostly white black deck here. And he's on 5 losses, so he does have quite a few packs into this. We are actually chatting right before we started. I asked him how he's enjoying the league, and he said, "Well, I'm enjoying it so much that I've maxing out in under 24 hours as of the week beginning." Maybe he's was better suited for Mardu in that case, but he's at 9 matches already going into this his last match. But as is Zach, so Zach is representing his Mardu clan appropriately here at 9 matches, and he was so dedicated to the Mardu that he used his league winner emote that went unclaimed for like 2 years to make a ride down emote.
I'm in Mardu as well myself, so there was some interesting chat going on about that. And he was just like, you know what? I haven't used this yet.
Yeah.
This is a good reason. And the ride down actually does look pretty neat too.
Yeah. Unlike me, who had an unused one and just used it to make a version of somebody else's emote with a red X through it.
Yeah.
But
All right. So Zach is staying with the 3-color Sultai build.
Salty.
He just flipped a couple of cards in and out, but nothing major changing. He's now looking at an opening hand that is once again two land and no green. So we'll see how this goes. He's got debilitating injury and disdainful stroke. He's going to be able to get a turn 3 Abomination of Gadul, which hopefully he'll be able to flip. That's the black, green, blue morph.
Yeah.
And hopefully he gets green mana for Heir of the Wilds and Highland game before too long, because, I mean, the Highland game especially is what you want to be playing on turn 2, not on turn, 7 or
Yeah, so
whatever.
we may have dueling Abomination of Gaduls here because Matthias played his own. That does appear to be one of his splashes, but it's going in the graveyard. The rest of his hand, he has a suspension field, which I did spot 3 of in his deck, so that's always nice.
Hmm.
He has a Mardu Horde Chief, which he's just going to play out here as a highly above curve 3-drop, even without the 1/1. He also has a Rush of Battle again and a Rekshasa's Secret, which may end up being painful for Zach here. That's the discard 2 spell.
Zach was holding the disdainful stroke above the battlefield threateningly just before the Horde Chief came down, and then had to reluctantly return it to his hand.
Yeah, he said, Siege Rhino, I'm ready for you, but there was no
Yeah,
Siege Rhino.
yeah, he was really hoping it was Siege Rhino this time. What he's playing instead now here, though, I believe he's running out Thousand Winds as a
Okay.
morph, as well as his Heir of the Wilds. So it does mean that if the Rakshasa Secret is hitting him, yeah, he's losing Highland Game and the Disdainful Stroke.
With
But he
absolutely zero hesitation, he he casts his Rakshasa Secret. Though the rest of his hand is pretty lacking here. Suspension Field will be able to kill, the Abomination of Gadul once it's flipped up. Oh, and the Rush of Battle is not doing too much. So Suspension Field, Rush of Battle, and 2 lands here. He does need to find some good draws. Right, Skull Hunter is not going to be too bad for him with the excess lands, but all right,
and he's
Alabaster
got the Horde
Kieran.
Chief to block it. But
Alabaster Kieran is a pretty reasonable draw here. Just a 2/3 blocker. I'm surprised he didn't trade off the Horde Chief for the Heir of the Wilds, but Maybe he noticed that Zach did not attack with the second morph. Maybe realizing it had value and he wants to leave that back to potentially block it at some point. Right, he's just gonna
Yeah.
go for Gadul here. Yeah, so he is blocking now. The suspension field will take care of that abomination.
Hmm. Yeah, it's Despise and Island where, well, I guess he's played it out now, but trying to work up to mana to flip the 1,000 winds there.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's a 5/6 flyer, so that's.
Yeah,
It's going to be
it's not going to bounce
gigantic.
the it's not going to bounce the Alabaster Kieran, but it's still a good card to play.
So Zach's in a pretty
This
reasonable spot where a land is like any spell is probably fine, and any land is okay too, right? That's kind of where you want to be.
Yeah, this new morph is a sorry, Mistfire Weaver, I think was the
Okay.
name. The 3/1
Yeah.
flyer that can give hexproof. That one's always a slightly awkward when you're playing, because the thing is, it's a great card, but it's always like, well, how much value do I want to get out of this? Do I want to hold it until my opponent tries removal of some kind, or do I just flip it up and trade for this Alabaster Kieran?
Yeah, I feel like if it was a 2/2 flyer, the decision would be much easier. But because it's 3 power, you kind of want to get it flipped up as soon as possible to start attacking. And here comes the what I call the king of the morphs, at least at common, the Willy Loxodon. And interestingly
Yes.
enough, the rush of battle in Matthias's hand gives lifelink to warriors, and guess who's a warrior? Our big elephant friend is in fact a warrior here.
Nice. Unfortunately for him, if he tries that, he is going to be running into the 1,000 winds.
Yeah, well, I don't think he would be rush of battling or this turn, but okay. Looks like he's not going to attack. He's going to respect the morph here. He's just playing Skull Hunter. I mean, there's no card to discard anyway. No, he's just going to respect whatever morph he sees here, but this might be the time to just go on the offensive here with the 1,000 winds.
Flip it up and brawl, then if the opponent had nothing, you'd be on a 2-turn clock. But
Okay, he's going to choose to take it a little slower than that.
yeah,
Another land here, so playing around future Skull Hunters perhaps.
the Loxodon is a little bit annoying because of the fact that he can't. It is bigger than the 1,000 winds, so he can't do the attack. Hey, do you want to block thing like he was doing earlier when he had a 3/4 morph against a 2/3.
Yeah, there's a good
So he
chance
needs
he's
to
going to have
actually commit.
there's a good chance he's either going to have to use it defensively or he's just going to flip it up and start attacking for 5. That's a viable option. And we get a Necropolis Fiend off the top here. A card we saw do some good work in our last match.
Mhm.
And, looks to potentially maybe be doing some good work again. Matthias is deciding whether he wishes to attack or not. But if he didn't attack last turn, I don't think he'd be attacking this turn.
Yeah, especially not if he's drawn something reasonable to do here. Like if the opponent isn't flipping their morphs up, then maybe you say, well, was that correct? Was that incorrect last time? Could I have gotten in this free 2 damage?
That
But
was,
with the Necropolis Fiend there,
yeah, not exactly what you want to draw
yeah,
here. The old Highland Gate.
yeah,
All right, here comes
yeah. He
Unyielding
does have.
Kumar off the top, so nothing special, but okay. Looks like he's going to go to attacks here. Interestingly, maybe it is possible that Matthias took a look at Zach's pool, saw 1,000 wins, and was playing around it. And at 6 mana that Zach has, it's not enough to flip it up. So he says, "I feel pretty safe about this." So he may have gone taken a look at Zach's pool, which all the pools are public, and he may have read him for 1,000 wins potentially, especially because of that turn where he attacked with the abomination that was a 2/2 um, into the 2/3 on Matthias' side, but did not attack with that 1,000 wins. So yeah,
And I'm wondering if he's also got a proper read on the second morph, because he hasn't used the Necropolis Fiend yet. And the Misfire Weaver can, blank one activation of that.
I mean he could do it at end of turn here for 1, right? could just knock
I'm
off that Skull Hunter with nothing else to do,
yeah,
I
I
imagine.
or maybe two on one of the morphs just to force the issue, but
I thought it cost
but
X.
I
I
don't
thought it
know.
cost X black black, but I could be wrong.
Oh, nope, just X and tap.
Oh, X and tap. Oh, okay. Better than I thought then.
Yeah,
No, he's gonna test the waters here. Because I mean, if he does it bigger on a morph, the morph could just flip up and like if that morph's like a 4/4 vanilla, and he goes X equals 3 on it, it's not gonna kill it. Well, I thought it was X black black. All right, so it's a little better than I gave it credit for, but yeah, Zach says I ain't fighting over that. No way.
yeah. I would have been. I was tempted there to use Thousand Winds to bounce the Loxodon and the Necropolis Fiend, just because that at least that way that's both of the large men. So I'm not sure how much better this gets here.
Yeah, so interestingly, Zach has been playing his lands. It's not impossible that he will want to flip up both in the same turn if he gets the 10 mana, but it's like
Yeah.
he's just going to take the damage here. He says, look, I'm at 16. I'm going to wait. He's going to, he's a very patient player. He knows when to make his move, and now he's actually can flip both potentially. But Matthias is probably going to try and kill something here with the fiend. No. He
No.
has a suspension field now, which not currently good, but it'll be good once something gets flipped up. So now Zach does have to do something. The take 8 option is no longer on the table, and this is all right. He's just going to let it happen. Yeah, block that. So now that Zach has 10 mana, he can actually protect the Thousand Winds from the Necropolis Fiend activation here. So it's not going to work out awesome here for Matthias.
I find it interesting that the auto tap on Arena uh, tapped all 4 islands there, left him swamp, forest, and polluted delta. And I mean, it still is going to work out, but it's going to require polluted delta for island.
Auto Tapper's a strange animal. So Matthias is maybe reading it for that big old morph or the hexproof trick, and he's not gonna try and kill this Thousand Winds here. He's just gonna play the 6/7, and he's gonna try and do some kind of rush of battle turn to win. I imagine. It's interesting that he didn't go for it.
Yeah, well, 4 mana to try and take out the Thousand Winds and save the Alabaster Kirin would have meant that he couldn't play the morph face. He would have had to play the Loxodon as a morph instead of face up. So then he's on more mana next turn.
Yeah, and if he did potentially read into the hexproof trick, he could have let his 2/3 die, then suspension field the Thousand Winds post combat, and then if it got flipped up, he could then respond and kill the Thousand Winds with the Necropolis Fiend.
Mm.
That could have been another option if he read him for the hexproof trick. But now the Thousand Winds is just going to come and smash here, or potentially.
Yeah.
What was Zach's draw for the
Uh,
turn?
Zach's draw was Force Away, which
Oh, okay.
is potentially very relevant, but if there is a rush of battle on the other side,
It's
then I think
actually
that's too many warriors.
yeah, it's
Like
for
that's
sure.
just too much life gain.
Yeah, it's for sure. Well, everything's a warrior except the demon here. So even if he bounces away the elephant, I mean, it's just lethal anyway. He's at 7, right?
Mm.
So it's I mean, with the force away, I guess he felt safe. He would only take 6. But this rush of battle will seal the deal here. There's no way. So if he bounces the biggest thing and blocks the second biggest, he's still at taking 9 here.
Yeah, I think
So
I think it was I think it was worth attacking. Just you're not going to win by sitting back, not against the Necropolis Fiend. But yeah, at this point, there's just nothing that can be done.
Yeah, we see both players being very, very careful in this game. Both players were playing, you know, playing very tight here, trying to maximize their cards and get the most out of it. And we see that is looks like it's going to be working out in the favor of Matthias here. Just a couple more impactful draws and the removals here.
Yeah. Yeah, having 10 mana was potentially useful for Zach, but it's just turned out to be a couple too many.
Yeah, like I said, I'm thinking he may have clocked him for the 1,000 wins and played accordingly, and
Yep.
that
And if
that may have
so,
been something that guided him to victory here. So,
yep.
congratulations to Matthias winning his first feature match. We hope to see him back in the feature match area very soon again, and we'll be back in a little bit with our final feature match of the week.